age of clean eating being all the rage, processed foods have gotten a really bad rap. But have you ever stopped to actually think about what the definition of a processed food is? According to the Department of Agriculture, and I'm going to read it straight from the Mayo Clinic's website, processed foods are any raw agricultural commodities that have been washed, cleaned, milled, cut, chopped, heated, pasteurized, blanched, cooked, canned, frozen, dried, dehydrated, mixed, or packaged. Anything done to them that alters their natural state. What does this mean? This means that a lot of foods that we would normally consider to be clean foods are actually processed foods. Now, if you think that I have hopped on here today to talk about condemning processed foods and how cleanest foods are the best foods, you would be mistaken. You clicked on the wrong video. I am a firm believer in cleanish eating. I am a firm believer in eating whole foods. I'm a firm believer in eating healthy foods. But I am not going to steer away from a food because it was processed. So today, I want to share with you some of the cleaner and less clean types of foods that I, as a nutrition and wellness coach, eat that are processed foods. But before we dive into that list, I want to say a special hello, especially if you are new here. My name is Brianna. I am the diva behind Diva and the Divine and your healthy homemaker, sharing my journey through life using health, habits, happiness, and of course homemaking to go after the life that I want. I'm so glad you clicked on this video today and would love it if you decided to join the Diva and the Divine community. Just click that little red button to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to turn on the bell so you get notified every time I upload something new. All right, let's talk about the processed foods. The processed foods, whenever you hear processed foods, you go, ooh, dirty. Processed foods. No, we aren't playing that game here. I'm waving around a list that I have made. Let's talk about the processed foods that I eat all the time. Starting with those pre-portioned avocado cups. Don't come at me because it's not the most environmentally friendly type of way to get your avocado in, but for me, the convenience factor and the portability factor works for me. It's easy for me to just open a cup and not have to fight with cutting open an avocado, and technically, the ingredients in my avocado cups are literally just avocados, salt, and black pepper, but it is still considered a processed food because it is not in its most natural form. Avocado is, quite frankly, one of the most healthy foods on this planet, and that isn't taken away from the avocado when it is in this processed format. One of my favorite bars to eat is definitely a processed food, but it doesn't mean it is unhealthy, and that is the Healthy Eating on the Go bars. You guys know that I have loved this brand forever and ever. It is one of the cleanest bars on the market. The ingredients are so wholesome and so body friendly. The macro balance cannot be beat, especially if you look into one of their protein bars that has some fiber in it. My personal favorite is the chia bar. It's got like 5 or 6 grams of fiber, 15 grams of protein, some healthy fat in there found in the natural peanut butter, and it is just all around a really healthy, wholesome food, but it is in fact a processed bar. If you are interested in trying Healthy Eating on the Go bars, I do not get a commission for this, but I do have a code. Use code DIVADIVINE-12 for 12% off of any order. The third processed food that I love and is so healthy in moderation, of course, is canned tuna. Canned tuna, pouched tuna is one of my all-time favorite protein sources. I found a canned tuna at Target that has 33 grams of protein per can, and it's like 130 calories. It makes the best tuna salad for me to throw on toast or throw on cucumbers or stuff in a pepper, and it is so filling and so delicious, and it is tuna. It is one of God's creations. It's tuna, and it is a processed food. Let's talk about bread, because bread, healthy, whether you think bread is healthy or not, I am team bread, I am team carbs, I always will be. But regardless of your opinion of bread, the reality of bread is it's a processed food. Even when you create the bread, the act of cooking it is making a processed food. So bread is inherently a processed food. I eat bread all the time. All the time. Here's a processed food that's arguably not as healthy, but it is something that I eat nonetheless, and that is frozen pizza. I love me the convenience of a frozen pizza. Sometimes you just need pizza for dinner, and what I like about frozen pizza is there are varying scales in terms of like the actual health and nutritional quality of frozen pizza, and some days you turn to a frozen pizza for no nutritional value whatsoever. I tend to eat pizzas like the Banza pizza, which has a little bit more protein in it, because I want that feeling of pizza, but I still want to be able to manage my macros appropriately. But whatever the frozen pizza choice I make is, frozen pizza is a food that I love as a wellness coach that is definitely processed. Have you heard of those chicken nuggets that everybody loves at Costco, the Bear chicken nuggets that are like no antibiotics and like minimal light breading, and like the macro balance is actually really solid? So a lot of nutritionists and dietitians and coaches who share recipes use them in their recipes for salads and things of the like. And guess what? It's nothing but a processed food. It is a processed chicken product. And yet there are so many dietitians and nutritionists and coaches out there that say, hey, this is a solid product. You should eat it. And everybody does. Food inherently has no moral value. So none of these foods here are good foods or bad foods. They just are food. And it's kind of the same with like, is it a clean food or is it a processed food? I hope if by now we're about halfway through the list, you're starting to realize that processed food doesn't mean bad food. Cheese sticks. You guys, I love cheese. You guys know that by now. I love cheese. I think cheese is one of the most flawless foods out there because it is a beautiful blend of fat and protein in the same delicious little bite. 1 ounce of cheese is roughly 110 calories, roughly 6 or 7 grams of fat, and roughly 6 or 7 grams of protein. It is just like the perfect little morsel. And sometimes it's really nice to have it in a convenient to-go package in the form of a cheese stick, string cheese, Colby Jack cheese sticks, things of the like. It is more processed cheese than even cheese itself, which is a processed food as well, but it's awesome. Cheese sticks in an easy, convenient to-go package are absolutely worth consuming. Milk is a processed food. Fat-free Greek yogurt, or whatever kind of Greek yogurt it is that you use, or regular yogurt it is you use. Yogurt is inherently believed to be a healthier food, right? And it is. It's got protein in it. It can be fat-free. It can have some good milk fats in it as well, but it's all processed. And I love dairy products. Oh my gosh. Milk is great. Milk is a beautiful food because you can kind of mess with how much of the fat content you have in your milk, but it's also a carb and it's also protein, and it's so good. It's right up there with the cheese. And Greek yogurt is the same. Whether you are somebody like me who chooses to do non-fat Greek yogurt that is flavored, or you're more of a purist and you go for the plain Greek yogurt or regular yogurt, whatever your choice may be, understand that your healthy bowl of yogurt is a processed food. Lunch meat is processed. In fact, most of your meats are processed. Unless you're knocking out the chicken on your own and you're buying chicken from the store, your meat is processed. I hate to break it to you. Your baby carrots. Guys, your baby carrots are processed. They go through a little machine of some kind. They don't grow like that. Like, they go through a machine that turns regular carrots into baby carrots, and that act in and of itself processes the food. Lara bars are another one of the protein, they're not protein bars, I lied, they're not protein bars, they're snack bars. I don't know what you want to call them. What would you call Lara bars? They're not, you don't buy Lara bars for their protein content, but they have fat and they have carbs, and let's face it, they're kind of delicious, and they have really clean ingredients. You can literally go through them and be like cashews, dates, ginger, pumpkin spice, cinnamon. I'm thinking of like the gingerbread ones or the pumpkin spice ones, obviously. I'm in seasonal mode over here. Very people who kind of condemn processed foods are like, oh, but Lara bars are clean, but they're still processed. I could go on and on. Cookies and chocolate bars, things that I still, as a wellness coach, will eat on a regular basis because I love dessert. All processed food, but I want to bring it on home with the type of foods that we relate to being the healthiest, and that is, of course, vegetables. And some of the convenient ways that we get our vegetables, and the most cost-effective way that many of us get our vegetables, are processed ways of getting our vegetables, and that is in the form of canned vegetables and frozen vegetables. I have both of those things on hand in mass quantities in my house at any given time. I love fresh produce, don't get me wrong, but you have to prep it. You have to eat it in a more limited time frame, and sometimes it's just not what you need in your kitchen right now. I love having all the frozen vegetables on hand because it's really easy for me to create a dinner out of a carb that's on hand, frozen vegetables on hand, and a meat that's on hand. You cook it all up real easy peasy, and then you have a really healthy and lean meal. But we forget the frozen vegetables, as healthy and awesome as they are technically a processed food. What is my point in telling you this video? What is the point that I'm trying to drive home? If you've been following me for quite some time now, you know that I went through a really brief, I'm trying to clean up my act phase. And the reality is I'm still trying to clean up my act a little bit. And by that, I mean, I've become much more ingredient conscious about the foods that I choose. And so much so that I actually went and joined a clean eating community. But the longer I was in that clean eating community, and it wasn't very long, I realized just how much they condemn regular run-of-the-mill and otherwise would-be healthier foods simply because something about it is processed or something about it is cleaned. And I think when people talk about processed foods being bad for you, they don't actually take the literal definition of processed foods into account when they are saying, oh, I don't eat processed foods, you know? Yes, you do. You eat processed foods. We all eat processed foods. And so I just feel in this day and age, as I'm looking forward to the new year and goal setting and how I want to be treating myself, I want to be giving myself a little bit more gentle grace about things. And that is eliminating the need for this perfection, this all or nothing mindset. And all or nothing mindset creeps in a lot with anything. It doesn't have to be with your weight loss or your ability to track. Even if you decide I want to adapt a more clean eating lifestyle, all or nothing mindset can creep into that well, and it can become debilitating. And so understanding the definitions of things that when you're on social media and when you're on the internet, you can find an argument for why all processed foods are bad, or all vegetable oils are bad, or all insert condemned food here, right? You can find something for that. And so I want you to be equipped with the knowledge to go forth and make decisions for yourself when it comes to what is the right type of diet and level of cleanish eating that you would like to approach. Because if you were sitting there going, well, I don't want to eat processed foods, I hate to break it to you, but you're kind of gonna have to eat processed foods unless you're gonna grow your own food and kill your own meat. You know what I mean? So I want to use this as an opportunity to just kind of let you be a little bit gentler with yourself and accept that, you know, processed foods are not bad. Having a food be processed in and of itself is not a bad thing. So next time you see people condemning processed foods and trying to change your mind about processed food, the reality is sometimes the processed food option is just as healthy and more convenient, and thus there's a reason to enjoy the processed food. There are some processed foods that are going to be more nutritionally sound than others. This is of course true, and I'm not speaking towards one extreme or another, but with everything, and this is kind of what I'm adapting into my life now at this point. I've done it all, right? I've done the extreme dieting of Weight Watchers. I've done the maintenance eating of 2,200 calories. I've done trying to eat clean. I've done all the convenience foods. And what I have learned in my over decade of dieting and in coaching and in just life is there is gray area everywhere, and nothing should necessarily be black and white, and that includes your food and dietary choices and the level of rigidity that comes with saying, I'm a clean eater, I don't eat this, I don't eat that, I do eat this, I do eat that, because there's plenty of gray area in there. So don't let perfectionism creep in. Don't let other people's opinions try and tell you that food is bad or food is good, because food has no moral value. And next time you're sitting there going, processed foods are not awesome, remember this video and remember that even things like frozen vegetables are technically a processed food, and they are so very good for you. That's it for my discussion on processed foods. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and in the comments down below, I want to hear from you. Did anything in this video surprise you? Have you ever thought about processed foods being things like meat and cheese and frozen vegetables? Or did you only ever think of processed foods as being things like Smart Ones frozen meals or things of the like? I would love to hear your opinion. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!